I want to hear the commentary really quickly. Let's hear the
Great that you
commentary.
did the interview with Fox, and I think that it was amazing that you were the interviewer. I think that
はい、
that was
OL です。おはようござい
incredible
ま
30 minutes,
す。今ね、
well
朝
spent
の
by
7時
both
29
of
分で
you.
す。
Now, I would say I thought some of her answers were a little bit thin,
ベ
and
ニー・
I
ジョン
asked
ソン
myself,
の
where's the joy? There's no
お
joy here.
ライブ放
She
送で私
came
ね、
in kind of hot, and she got
カマラハリ
angrier,
スの
but at
インタビュー
times,
聞いたんですよ。今終わった
especially
直
when she
後
was
です。
trying to go after Donald Trump, she was fairly effective in that to try to get her point of view across. However, I would say on immigration that her answers were pretty thin. And there was one thing that she said, I think this was about the transgender surgery issue. She said, you are responsible for what happens in your administration. And I imagine that the Trump folks over there said, oh, okay, let me just take that clip and put it right in an ad, because the questions about why does 79% of the country think we are on the wrong track when you've been in office, her answer saying that Trump's been on our radar for 8 years and was president for 4 years, 4 years ago. I didn't think that that landed very well, but I thought the interview was super good. And I would add this. I don't think that friendly interviews did her any service. Tougher interviews make her think more on her
結構いい
feet,
イン
and
タ
then
ビュー
she
で
has
す。
to
カ
present
マラ
herself
ハリ
as
ス
the
感情
possible
的です。
commander in chief so that people can make this choice that they have coming up in 19 days.
怒ってました。
Yeah, Martha, I've been through a lot of these big interviews. Normally, you can kind of get in on the breath. You can ask another question. Sometimes, there's an effort to filibuster, and there's an effort to create a moment. And I think that was their goal coming in. I tried to redirect numerous times without interrupting too much, but at some point, you kind of have to redirect to get back in the game.
Absolutely. And Brett, I thought you did a masterful job. This is the kind of interview that we should see a lot of on the campaign trail. And we have seen Trump, and comes to mind the Bloomberg interview yesterday where he was getting pushback. She has not exposed herself to this kind of moment. And
答えは全部これ私の意見ですけど、質問聞かれたら全部トランプのせいにしてるんですよ。
Really ask the questions that a lot of Americans want answers to, which is, how did you let all these millions of people come into the country, and do you have any regrets about it? And I think her answers were not good on that, and about the economy. When you ask her what would be different under a Harris administration as opposed to a Biden administration, the things that she brought up was that she would listen to Republicans and she would listen to the business sector. She also mentioned the $25,000, which we've heard about, that she offers home buyers. But we didn't get a clear, who are you? What do you stand for? What would America look like under a Kamala Harris economy? So, I think that was a rough moment.
エコノミーあんまり大した。
Let me play this soundbite. It's on turning the page, stop 3.
If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
トランプがいたから。
Come on. You and I both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade, people have become. But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable.
Unfit to serve, unstable はバイデンもそうだし、あなたのそばにいた。
Harold, at that point, I really didn't know what she was talking about. She was going back a decade and talking about Donald Trump. So, thoughts overall?
So
first off, you did a great job. You did a great job because you asked the tough questions and you went back at her with tough questions, and she should be pleased with how she performed this evening. I think what Dana and Martha are saying, there's a lot of truth to some of the answers that I would have wanted a more wholesome or full answer to.
今ね、ちょっと紹介し忘れましたけど、ベニー・ジョンソンのライブ、FOX でのライブ放送、ブロードキャストを見てるんですよ。で、これは FOX のライブをベニー・ジョンソンがライブブロードキャストしてるんですね。なんか彼、タイプいろいろしてますけど。今、FOX は終わった後、インタビュー終わった後の評価というか。
Probably some of the things they won't run are some of the things that Dana and Martha have touched on. I thought she should have been clearer about her position on if she's for the transgender operations or transitions or not.
答えクリアじゃないですよね。
On immigration, if she's for some of those things in 2019.
トランスジェンダーの問題もイミグレーションの問題も答えを聞かれた答えに直接答えずにトランプのせいだとかね、トランスジェンダーは法に従うと言ったでしょ。トランプの時からその法はあったと。はっきりした答えは分からないんですね。法に従うっていうんだったら、やっぱり税金で、インメイトのね、受刑者の性転換手術のお金を払うということでしょ。
She definitely had a moment there where she was talking about Donald Trump and the threat that she sees and citing the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dana. I started with immigration because she does this
シンドロームすぎますよね。
we dropped a bill in the first days.
全部トランプが悪い、トランプが悪い、トランプが脅威だと。イミグレーションもトランプのせいだと。
To get 11 million illegal aliens citizenship in 8 years, and they had the White House, the House and the Senate and the
ハリス多分
Democratic
これね、
leadership did not bring that bill up.
面白かったです。ハリスがこんなに感情的になって怒ってこういうインタビュー見たの初めてですよね、世界中の人が。これ一つ面白かったことと、2点目は答えがやっぱ答えになってないんですよね。直接答え入れてないんですよ。全部トランプが悪い。
Loyally, we have more Republicans, Democrats, and independents than watch than any other news channel. And we have covered immigration since, well, going back. I've been here 14 years. We always talk about it. And one of the things she does is she sandwiches in the bill she's talking about, which you clarified, and then the bill she says that Trump killed. In between those things is when you have millions of people flooding into the country with no other reporter but Bill Hallucian and Griff Jenkins down there at the border covering it. The story of a lifetime. And now people are dealing with that in not only in New York City, or not even just the border states, they're dealing with in all the major cities. And they're dealing with increased housing costs and the problems with the schools and increasing crime. And what about the jobs? I mean, all of those things. Now,
ブレッドの質問は最初からイミグレーションの話だったんですよね。で、それにちょっと多くの時間、多分10分ぐらい、半分ぐらいその話だったんですけど、答えになってないんですよね。
Just acknowledge it. Like what would happen with the whole entire campaign fall apart? Because the majority of people think that Trump
イ
would
ミ
be
グレー
better on
ション政
immigration.
策が失勢だということを認めるべきですよね。
Yeah, not only that, but maybe more specific.
それをトランプのせいにしたり、
Sister Soldier moment where she
ボーダー
separated
ザーじゃない
herself
と、
a little bit.
予算通さなかった共和党悪いと言ったりね、すること自体が間違ってるんですね。民主党の方も反対しましたから。
What's your takeaway?
Well, she was combative and energetic, and she certainly landed some blows on Donald Trump. But in terms of how well she answered your questions, which
そういう
were
こと。
about the very
エネル
things
ギーやって感情的だったのはよかった。まあ、ある意味良かった
thinness
で
of
すけ
her
ど、答えになってないんですよ
positions,
ね。
her failure to explain her
全部トランプ悪いということで。
flip-flops on issues going back to when she was
フリ
a
ップフロッ
candidate
プ
for
イシュー
president
も
back in 2019 and
彼
2020. She didn't give you very much, Brett.
ブレッドは
And you did a great
その点
job.
つきましたよ
And
ね。
so the right question to ask, you did a good
変わったの
job
かと、政策変わったのかと、
opposing them.
それに対してまともな答え
I'm sure her partisans
な
will
っ
look
て
at
ない
that
で
and
すよ
say,
ね。
yay,
やっぱカマラ 空っぽなん
she
ですよね。
fought you. But if people have doubts about her, I don't think that she cleared them up.
だからよく現れてます、今
All right,
回
we're going to take a
の
quick
が。
break on the
All
other
right,
side.
ladies and gentlemen. Okay, just wanted to get some
Digest a little bit
reactions
more.
there. Let's go back. Come on, baby.
これベニーです。私大好きです。
I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. I try so hard not to scream during these things.
彼ずっと
I
聞
try
いてまし
so
た。
hard. You just witness history.
何回か叫んで
A
ましたけ
presidential
ど。
campaign has never ended in a single interview before. That's never happened. It's never happened that a single interview ended a presidential. Donald Trump had like the Access Hollywood tape. It's never happened that a presidential campaign ended in a single interview.
大統領選がね、一つのインタビューで終わったことはなかった今まで。今回そうだ。この一つのインタビューで終わった。10ポイント下がった。来週。
This is the single worst performance
Single
of a
worst
presidential
performance.
candidate in my lifetime and perhaps ever.
彼の人生で過去すべて最悪のインタビューだった。
Kamala Harris was vengeful, mean, embittered, shaking, screaming, yelling. She was shook from the first second that Brett Baer, who is magnificent. I am a fan of Brett Baer. I love. Good job, Brett Baer.
Good
Way
job.
too good. That's like actual journalism.
めちゃくちゃ褒めてますね。ちょっと心配でしたけどね、ブレッド。
With the plastic blocks and the Play-Doh being treated in bubble wrap in every single interview by Oprah. What do you like about America? I like about America. Unburdened by what has been. She's destroyed herself. They live inside of this bubble and they can't answer real questions. They can't confront hard facts. Hey, why'd you kill so many Americans?
そう、最初の問題、それでしたよね。
We gotta load it up. We're gonna play it. That was 8 straight minutes.
8分間だって、
Why did you kill so many Americans? Here's a bunch of photos of the Americans you killed. And Kamala Harris goes, I'm so sorry. Did I do that? Did I do that?
いや、これに現れてます、カマラ・ハリスは。
Disqualifying. Expect Kamala Harris to tonight. What you just witnessed was the death of a political campaign. Expect Kamala Harris tonight. Chat. Expect tonight and through the end of the week, the Kamala Harris campaign is over.
もう終わった。
She's done. She's done. I don't need Brit Hume's OnlyFans selfie cam like iPad shot to like tell me that Kamala Harris is done. I don't need people on Fox News to like mule about, how like people in Kamala's camp will say she did a good job. No, Kamala did an atrocious job. Here's a good example. Here we go. Here's a great example. Here's Kamala Harris being pressed about something that's obvious, something that you need to be pressed about. Every single time that Kamala Harris gets pushed on something that she did, she blames Donald Trump.
でしょ？
It's like my flipping 4-year-old and my 2-year-old.
2歳、4歳の子供かって。
My 4-year-old gets in trouble, she blames her little sister. Because that's what teeny children do who don't have developed consciousness or consciences and can't
いや、本当ですよね。両親がないのかという
that like
こと
I
でしょ。
know you ate the cookie because you have cookie crumbs all over your face.
ハリスは政権についたんですよ。副大統領です。
Is that she's been the president?
なんでそれがトランプのせいなんですかと。
Joe Biden's done. They pushed him in a wheelchair into the open mouth of a volcano.
両親の呵責があるならば、
Kamala's been the president for the last 4 years, and everyone hates it.
過去4年間
Gallup polls showing that there's 20% of the country thinks we're on the right track. 80% of the country hates Kamala Harris and hates what's going on right now. You are in the majority. We are the majority. Kamala Harris reflexively just blames Trump for all of her problems. That is going to be seen so sickeningly by the American public.
私もそう思います。
That is going to be seen.
すべてトランプのせいだと TDS しかなかったでしょ、答えは。シックニングですよね。本当病的です。これが大統領候補者なんですね。
Extreme ownership. It's how we practice it at this company. If you have a good company or if you have a good family, you probably practice it there. You take a situation that's bad and you say, I own that. And if something bad's happening around you, you say, what part of it is what part of it can I make better immediately? How can I help? The most repulsive quality to have in a leader is it's all your fault, it's never my fault. I've never done anything wrong.
そうですよね。
This was Kamala
リ
Harris's
ーダーというの
entire
は
interview.
責任を負うわけでしょ。
And she was reduced to a
でも
screeching,
カマラ・ハリスは自分が悪くないと。
neurotic,
悪いのはトランプだって。 これはリーダーの資
Box
質
of
ないと。
wine, suburban, hysteric,
Hysteric.
over-medicated,
Over-medicated.
divorcee, on her way to pick up her kids. That's what Kamala Harris came off as. Not as a commander-in-chief. As a
軍の最高司令官じゃないですよね。
tire
本当
fire.
に。
Check this
責任を
out.
取れない
Kamala Harris
人です
snapping. Losing her mind. Watch the body
ロジ
language.
が
Listen
ちょ
to
っ
the tone. This is not the tone.
と
This is not the tone of somebody in control. This is the tone of somebody who's lost it.
彼女も
talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the president of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
From the lady who's going to lock up Donald Trump. From the lady who's literally run on locking up Donald Trump. From a lady whose Department of Justice has charged Donald Trump with 400 years worth of felony bullshit. And she's shaking. She is physically shaking during that answer. Her voice is cracking. She's lost it. She's losing it. She's lost it. Guys, this is just some of the takeaway on X. Kamala Harris's long pause when she finally asked for the first time when she noticed Joe Biden's cognitive decline is telling. She tries to attack Trump, and then the hammer stops running when the hamster stops running on the brain wheel here. Do we have this clip, boys? Do we have that clip? It's from Trump War Room. Let's grab that if we don't. My God, I've never seen somebody use so many words to say so little, says Tim Pool. No exaggeration, it's over. Yeah, that's right, from David. Kamala Harris is the most unimpressive presidential candidate in American history, from Matt Walsh. Brett Baer crushing Kamala Harris right now. More than 70% of Americans in the country says on the wrong track. You've been in office for 4 years. And Donald Trump's been running for office.
私もこれ、ジョークだと思いました。
Brett Baer asked Kamala Harris
で、
when she
カマラ
first
ハリ
noticed
ス
Joe Biden was mentally unstable.
バイデンの話じゃなくて、トランプが今立候補してるのか、トランプの話しましょうということなんでしょうけど、あなたの話をしますから、あなたというのはカマラ・ハリスの。
Was stable.
あなたは隠してたんでしょと。メンタルエクイティを。
Stand up and take a bow, dude. Brett Baer, the right to Brett Baer arms. Way to go. Brett Baer bearing his arms today. I'm sure we have that clip now, right? We have this clip. Joe Biden.
ブルーベア最初から良かったですね。最初から。
Come on,
冒頭から見てください。冒
hype
頭
you
から。
up as the best production team in the world. We will prove ourselves today.
もう
You call Donald Trump, he's misguided. You say now
He's
he
unstable.
is unstable.
He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties
うま
appeared
く
diminished?
切り返しましたよね。バイ
Joe
バイス
Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people. Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
you talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best,
違うでしょ。アメリカンピープルはあなたのにコン
leaders of
サ
our
ントなん
national
ですよ
security
ね。嘘ついてるあなたに。
have all spoken out, even
全
people
部
who
トランプ
worked
の
for
せいに。
him in the Oval Office.
The deep state have spoken out. They don't like Donald Trump. This is a meme that is being shared right now. This is the meme. Come get your boy. Look at Brett Baer. This is Brett Baer. Right to bear arms. That's what they mean. This is the right to Brett Baer arms. Look at him go. Kamala, after being asked a single question. Okay, Kamala Harris is done, says executive producer ALX. That's enough drama for one.
ちょっと長くなりそうなので、一旦切りますね。ご視聴ありがとうございます。
All politicians are